the President of the United States!
Resistance to the war was growing. Mr. Lincoln needed to reinvigorate the people, to explain to them, and perhaps himself, why this endless plague of war must continue.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they here gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom. And that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
It's far too short. Nothing else to say?
Silly, flat, and dish-watery utterances of a man who must be pointed out to intelligent foreigners as the president.
Well, I've not had much time for foreign policy.
Teddy Roosevelt had a well-known motto: speak softly and carry a big stick. That stick was the power of the presidency, a power that had been severely tested less than 50 years before with Abraham Lincoln. The Republican Party was established in 1854 to stop the steady expansion of slavery. It's called the Party of Abraham Lincoln, and we're proud of that, because this man, born in a log cabin to barely literate parents, would save the soul of America and make all her people free. Lincoln was a born storyteller. He knew when to pause, when to hurry, when to stop. He was the greatest coiner of one-liners in our nation's history, until a man named Reagan topped him. But somehow, that fine storyteller turned out to be quite the warrior as well. He took office in March of 1861, when the United States did not seem so united. Lincoln entered Washington secretly, so great were the fears of his assassination. Attacked daily in the press, vilified by half the country. The Democrats called him a third-rate lawyer, one who could not speak good grammar. A friend observed, his work methods were neither swift nor brilliant, but for sure exhaustive. He was discouraged. Lack of progress early in the war. Agonizing over the more than 600,000 soldiers killed. He was pursuing a lonely and seeming impossible task, preserving the Union, a burden our nation has never shouldered before or since. But Lincoln loved this country and respected the Constitution. He wrote a friend in Kentucky, "It was in the oath that I would, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. I could not take the office without taking the oath, nor was it my view that I might take an oath to get power and break the oath in using the power." At war's end, this man who had suffered, endured, and led, lost his life. But he had preserved the Union. He had saved the country. The country he had put first before self.